Hey guys, if we reach 1,000 likes, we'll be giving out 2 of our new shirts. All you gotta do is click like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Steven Universe is literally my ideal show. It's a slice of life that incorporates a linear story progression with tons of mystical sci-fi-esque fighting. The sci-fi has never been ramped up higher than it has in this latest Steven bomb, which I am so grateful for. I do love the amazing fight scenes, the amazing storyline, the amazing character development, a show that actually values character development. But today we're only going to be looking at the episode Steven's Dream, though I may dip into a few other episodes briefly just for a second so that I can make a point. The episode begins the way most of the viewers end, by crying. But these tears are insanely large and huge, way bigger than any human could produce. It turns out the tears are not his, but that of Blue Diamond's. Steven bombs have a habit of causing us to have more questions than we get answered, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. As well, something like this isn't actually new. We've seen Steven be able to connect to other creatures before on some sort of telepathic level. Perhaps this is something that Rose Quartz could do. Remember, the gems that we know may have the name of Garnet, Pearl, Amethyst, but those aren't names per se. Those are what they are, and each one has a special, unique job. Perhaps Quartz has some sort of empathy to them, some sort of telepathic empathy that allows them to connect with other beings. Perhaps that's why Rose valued the humans so much and the life on Earth. We're not exactly sure how Steven's linked to Blue Diamond. It's never really explained. There is a scene though where we see bubble gems that are hinted at being the remnants of pink diamonds, and yet those aren't traditional diamond shapes. No, those are in fact the same style gems that Steven has. It looks like Rose Quartz gem, and I hear people who often say that Rose couldn't have been pink diamond, but if she was, this might explain the reason why Steven has some sort of connection to Blue Diamond. All throughout the episode, the gems are hesitant to provide Steven any real information about his mother, and often they kind of act a little bit irrationally about it. But so does Steven. When Steven announces he knows Mom shattered pink diamond, Pearl gives an odd look. It's not exactly easy to describe, but it seems as though there's something she wants to say, but can't. Perhaps the story of the shattering of pink diamond isn't so straightforward as we've been led to believe. Perhaps it's simply a lie that's easier to tell Steven than the truth. So often do we cover our loved ones in pretty lies and expose them to the ugly truth. We do it because we love them, but often it's a gesture that does more harm than good. No, of course you're not getting fat. Of course your cooking is amazing. Your pet simply ran away, sweetie, to be back with its family. These glittering lies inhibits a person's growth. If we know our flaws, we can fix them. If we don't, then how can we be expected to improve? Or in this case, how can you truly cope and come to terms with such a great loss when you never actually know the extent of your loss? This goes on both sides. The gems constantly bottling up their emotions around Steven, keeping important and scarring details away from him, constantly getting more frustrated with their emotions until they finally come bubbling out. That last line summarizes this entire episode. Steven wants to know everything. He views keeping any secret as a personal attack against his own mental fortitude. In his mind, he can handle everything and deserves to know everything. His attitude is resolute, and his path is a path that can't be blocked. There were subtle moments that were scattered throughout this episode and the entire Steven bomb, where Steven's blind ambition hurts the ones he loves and even stops him from thinking clearly. When Garnet tells him Pearl is upset, he doesn't care. Instead, he says, what about him? Doesn't he matter? Doesn't what he desires come first? As if the gems have ever done anything since he could remember that wasn't what they thought was best for him. But of course he's not thinking about that. He is on a mission and he needs to know what happened. There was another moment when Garnet poses the question, will Steven stay for her? She can't go with him, so will he stay for her. Steven won't stop, however, nor does he stop and think. Garnet can see the future. Such an obvious thing to recall, and yet Steven doesn't stop to think about it. There are so many episodes talking about it, and yet Steven blindly charges forward. This is to further show his ambitions. There is a difference between determination and blind ambition, and this is it. I'd also like to point out, because I know it will be pointed out by someone, the buildings in Korea are 9/11. I'm not sure why, but it does seem to be a lot of coincidences where those two numbers show up, as Steven's birthday photos go from 9 to 11, skipping 10. I doubt this has something to do with some sort of conspiracy theory of an American tragedy, and I only mentioned it because I know it will be brought up. If I had to give some sort of overthinking meaning behind it, it could simply be a homage to the all clear moments right before the attacks. How someone you know and love can be fine one moment and gone the next. How you're powerless to stop it. How you have to live on after said events. But that's only if I have to give some deeper meaning to it. Otherwise, I'd just say human brains love to see patterns. And the coincidence of seeing those two numbers is just something Americans notice. But speaking of loss, the talk between Blue Diamond and Greg is the realest part of the episode. The monologue delivered by Greg isn't some Shakespearean monologue, ripe with amazing metaphors and similes, because he's a normal human. He's not some master poet, but anything said from the heart, no matter how simple, has the ability to greatly impact those around him. I mean, look at the fact that Blue Diamond can empathize with him. These are beings from two different worlds, literally and figuratively, and yet they can come together over their loss. Overall, Steven Universe does what Steven Universe does best. It made me feel. It's a show that's not afraid to touch topics that are normally taboo for other shows. It's a show that, in the world where random humor is par for the course, it will buckle down and tell a serious story. This is why Steven Universe both gets so much praise and hate. It is a nail that is sticking up, which means people only want to hammer it down. I, for one, loved this episode. In fact, I loved all the episodes in this Steven Bomb. I'll probably do reviews on other episodes, but let me know how you guys like this one. Be sure to like if you did enjoy, and comment down below what you think. I've been Moliminous, and I'll see you guys next time.